Hello, everyone. Jema, greetings. The Vedic Way is not only a wonderful platform for you, but also for me, where I can layer the systematic teachings, and no matter at what points seekers join, because the karma is ripe for them to join at a certain time, not before, not after. I still know that they will receive all the teachings because we go around in circles. And also, there is a video archive for you to dig into. But even if you didn't do anything, this knowledge will keep coming back to you, and every circle around the knowledge is going to simply deepen you into the knowledge and soften your understanding. We have to make intellectual changes. We have to allow for emotional changes. But then with bhakti, we have to open ourselves to mystical, divine intervention in our journey. There is a greater power, a greater force, a higher principle, which is simply known by a potential, a possibility, such as Brahman, that which is the ultimate, the most inclusive, or known as Ishvara. Sarvam Ishate iti Ishvaraha, that which is the inner intelligence reposing in living creatures and in non-living particles. How does a particle of sand know how to be a particle of sand? How does a water particle be replete with the intelligence of being a water particle? How does a tiny tadpole know how to survive in this whole universe? How is everything buzzing with intelligence? That inner power, that inner intelligence is Ishvara. That is why when we come to the heart of Bhakti Yoga, we have no names except to acknowledge the pulsation and the omnipresence and the omnipotence of the divine. We are very fortunate that along the way, through diverse paths, through diverse cultures, efforts have been made to connect the human being with that divine power. However, what happens is that our ability to seek this power, to recognize it amidst our material grasping, greed, and lament is limited. Our connection with that power and even the potential that possibly that power dwells within us as our own higher principle does become obscured from time to time. And then our shadow takes over, does it not? And we become such people deprived of what the main ingredient, love. We neither feel love for ourselves nor for others. We really have reasons why we should hate this, that, or the other. And often it's a reflection of self-hatred. So connection with that divine allness is an experience of divine love, and disconnection is an experience of alienation from that love. And how interesting that the path of yoga that we are discussing is Bhakti Yoga. And it's all about really understanding that if we want union in our day-to-day life, then we need to cultivate that love. Now, if it's love of an animal, a furry animal, a cute animal, an animal that lives with us, we know how to show that love. If it's a love towards a human being based on their age or based on their likes and dislikes, we know how to serenade that human. How should we possibly cultivate divine love? And so we have, fear not, a whole yoga contributing to that. And there are 9 ways of enhancing the experience of divine love, bhakti. And as you know, that Bhakti Yoga is a systematic process. So a systematic confirmation of those 9 steps must come your way from teacher to student. So that if not all 9, then at least you can really welcome those 9 ways of being in love with the divine. On a parallel track, I'm going to continue to unfold on my main satsangs, the 2 satsangs I do per month, and on the 5th satsangs that I do on certain months, about the different ways that we can connect with the divine as an abstract principle, as deities, which is a symbolic representation of that abstract principle, but a little more comprehensible. And thirdly, as a avatar, which literally means the descending from the pristine abstract principle into form. And the Veda being the Veda, inclusive as they are, this is not just a human form, can be an animal form, amphibian form, and humanized forms. Once we understand the science of avatars, we won't be swept up by blind sentiment, but really begin to see how some of the renowned avatars, lights that are complete divinity, have shown humanity the way again and again. Rama, Krishna, and Buddha are Guru Nanak, Mahavira of the Jain tradition. These are some of the famous avatars because somehow Hindus had a knack for recognizing them. There are also some partial avatars. Avatars can lead a whole lifetime as a human. Avatars can appear for a brief time, just for a brief time, few moments in timelessness in a human form, but it's just for a few moments. Or an avatar can come in the form of a non-human living form and still be instrumental in changing existential consciousness. The Christ, the Allah, are some other forms. And it's interesting that the avatars in the Vedic Hindu tradition, they don't have to be Superman and Superwoman, because that will be besides the point. Avatars are always undergoing some of the suffering that we humans undergo. Like the circumstances would be, just as even Christ went through some rather tragic circumstances, and you would think, well, if they're an avatar, they should have it all together, shouldn't they? But that's the miracle version of mumbo jumbo avatar, who need to show miracles and fancy pansies to prove a point. True avatars, as noted by humanity, have always had their enlightenment intact, along with the vulnerability of the human earthly existence, so that they can show to us humans how to really lead your life despite the changing landscapes of joy and sorrow, good luck and bad luck, well-being and tragedy. And so we have the chronicles of Rama and Krishna, especially important in Bhakti Yoga, these two avatars that I will be going through. I will also allude from time to time to avatars like the Buddha, the Christ, because and some other avatars, because there are some important teachings there. I'm not a master of those traditions, and I don't have the authority to speak on non-Vedic traditions, but I may draw parallels from time to time. So we're going to come into some very deep richness to look at these figures not just as religious heads, but to look at them as bearers of the divine light transformed. And what can we take from that? So that's an avatar. So we have the abstract, we have the symbolic, and then we have the universal take on an individual form temporarily. Because if the universe can create millions of species, billions of galaxies, that it can surely take on a form now and then, which then is visible to many. And there were people in the lifetime of Rama, Krishna, Christ, Allah, who 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 were perceiving the avatar with their eye, but they couldn't see the avatar. So that's not a reflection of the avatar, that's just a reflection of the grossness of the perception that we had. But Bhakti Yoga is about scientifically exploring this. Bhakti Yoga makes us definitely more grateful for the descent of the higher, more metaphorical or more transcendental principle into an immanent presence with teachings for our relative plane of existence. I did an Instagram live earlier and I was mentioning briefly that the difference between an avatar and a human being is, and this is important for you because then I will have teachings on avatars coming up later, is that we also have the divine Atma within us. We definitely are deep inside us, that same divine being. So we are definitely, you could say, mini avatars. The difference is that our own divinity is obscured from us, whereas an avatar is in always awareness of their divine truth. So when a human child comes in, they may look cute and sweet and delightful, but they are shrouded in Maya or avidya or the metaphorical ignorance of their own truth. And most humans get caught up in their body as their identity, or then their thoughts as their identity, and then their circumstances as the definition of their identity. But avatars do not. They face adversity, but from an inner light. So the journey of us humans is from asat to sat, asatoma satgamaya, from untruth, from illusion to truth. Sat, from asat to sat, from darkness, tamas, to light of sattva. We have to make all those journeys. We have to take the Vedic classes or whatever. We have to do the therapy. We have to, let the scriptures flow over us. We have to do all that work. So we are, you could say, the lamps whose light is shrouded, whereas an avatar is the lit lamp. And as a result, if you look into the heart of pretty much the words of every avatar, whether it is of any tradition, names that I may or may not have taken, They're always about love and kindness and compassion and inclusivity. It is we who have made it about this or that often. And it's really interesting that there is an understanding in the Vedic tradition that Ishvara, that entirety of divine existence, is compassionate, and that we are all moving towards our divine realization. Every particle of sand is hoping to be born as a particle of plasma in the future. So material to living. From a single-celled amoeba to a complex-celled earthworm, from a complex-celled earthworm to a complex animal like a mouse or a rabbit, from a rabbit and a mouse to a dog and a wolf to a human, and then from human to becoming godly. So there is not just the Darwinian biological evolution, but there is an evolution of light and consciousness. And the reason the human birth is a very important birth is because through these systems of yoga, we have the capacity to be aware of the immensity of our journey, and that we have arrived at the zenith of evolution, that this light is not just an external search, but available internally in the pure, calm, sattvic mind. And that the intergalactic space is not just the space we have to explore, but the spaces within our own being. As a result, Bhakti Yoga is really a very important pathway to develop some kinds of relationship with Ishvara abstract, Ishvara symbolic, deity principle, or Ishvara avatar. And while I will honestly communicate the knowledge from the Vedic tradition, I will expect you to take it and translate that knowledge or the principles into your own specific tradition, be it Christianity, Judaism, Sikhism, Jainism, Buddhism, whatever be your tradition. I don't even have mastery over all the traditions. But if something is familiar to you, see if you can bring the Vedic torchlight and, and let the love be more enhanced as a result. And it's a private love. It's not a doctored love. It's not something that people have to mediate in between. This is between you and the divine principle, which is the creative principle, the Vishnu principle, the Brahma principle, the sustaining principle, the Vishnu principle, and the annihilator principle, and that you are safe within that. So what are those 9 traditional steps I would like to underline? And the first step is happening right now. The first step is called Satsanga or Shravanam. Satsanga. Sat means the truth. And what is that truth? It's not the truth of Christians versus Hindus versus Sikhs versus Buddhists, black versus yellow versus white versus brown. It's a truth known as consciousness, the truth of Ishvara, the truth of Brahman. These are technical, non-gendered terms to describe the higher power. Satsanga means association. You should be from time to time in exactly these kind of gatherings, which are not talking about how to work a room, how to find a lover and keep them, how to be more rich. Though we should have the benefit of this knowledge helping us find our soulmate or become more abundant. And I teach those classes also from time to time. But in pure satsang, it's not about anything worldly. It's not about acquiring more. It is about how to dissolve some more into that divine ocean of awareness. So, satsang is really achievable through Shravanam. Shravanam literally means seeing, hearing. Shravanam means hearing. So you are doing that, you are hearing. You're also being able to see me, or you may in the future read my book that I'm working upon right now about these topics. And I don't know what I'll call it, but when you're reading the writings of a traditional Acharya and it's evoking within you this otherworldly call, then it's called a satsang, but it's happening through your eyes, so it is called darshanam. So when it's happening through your ears, it is called shravanam, and when it is happening through your eyes, it is called darshanam or darshan. And this is an immersive experience for your body, your mind, your emotions, your ego, your memory, your intellect, and all the karmas that are sitting within you, waiting to pop, pop, pop. Everything is bathing in this divine remembrance of your divine wholeness. It's a call to you. And as a result, this is the repeated multiple weeks, multiple months, multiple years. The more you listen, the more you dissolve what? The ignorance. Because somehow the belief is, why is it such an important part of hearing? Because the belief is that when you hear these stories, these teachings, these descriptions of the divine, an ancient memory within you would awaken of your own inherent connection with the divine, your inherent heritage, your inherent relationship, and your unsolicited romance. And you will want to have that relationship, So Shravana is important, but if after listening to this for 1 hour a week, for example, you spend 6 hours listening to your best friend complain about life, because that's their IP. That's how they do life. They complain. Then you will become unfulfilled. If for the next, so because you spend 6 hours listening to, it's not the opposite of satsanga, is kusanga, Kusanga. Kusanga. It's the kind that pulls you down, makes you feel inadequate, unfulfilled. So it is said that those who are into satsanga, they guard their ears well. They guard their ears well. So along with the satsang, since you are such dedicated seekers, expose it to uplifting music, uplifting words, silence, the birds singing. That is a way to stay melodiously in a state of satsang. Wind chimes maybe. And seek out potentially listening to the satsang again, since now humans have the advantage of technology. That is why we help you have other sessions with Vedic educators from my lineage to help you churn some more and listen to the same truth through different facets of understanding. I understand that just before this satsang, you all sat with Vedic educator Ishani, and many of you shared some beautiful, poignant truths from your heart, and it was beautiful. When I listened to your video recording, I felt moved. So this is called satsang, where the light that is obscured within you becomes more revealed. That is a satsang. It's not my light that gets revealed in your heart. It is your light that gets revealed more in your heart.